Indra, and I'd like to welcome you to the Messy Middle Matters, where my friends and I explore all the twists, turns, and challenges that arise in the messy middle of work. Hey, Amanda, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Indra?
I'm doing well. I know you disagree with me on this, but I think you are an exceptional networker. Like you have a knack for keeping up with people from your life in a way that I admire. I admire it very deeply.
Thank you. You know, you're not the first person who's told me that. And I think it comes down to, well, what is networking, right? Like when people hear the word networking, they think of the awkward, like networking events,
Yeah.
the corporate networking events. And that I don't like that. I
don't know who does.
Yeah.
Salespeople, maybe?
Yeah. The very extroverted. But yeah, I don't love, and I think that's what comes to even my mind. Like
Yeah.
when
you hear
people
that,
say, oh, yes,
networking with a capital N.
Right. When you're so good at networking. I'm just like, I dread all networking events.
So I don't know if this episode is going to follow our standard structure, if it's going to be me interviewing you or how this is going to flow. But I know for a fact, I don't even need to send a poll out to know this. I know for a fact that a bunch of our listeners struggle when it comes to the word networking, the act of networking, like you were just saying. And I'm sure that between the two of us, we'll share some strategies that work that for us, that might work for them. And at the very least, we'll have some entertaining stories.
Yeah.
So let's dig in. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So, just continuing the train of like, what is networking? Right.
So how would you define so when I think of networking, like one of my stories that comes up that I was like, oh, Amanda is paying attention in a way that I am just not clocked in. So a couple of years ago, after you and I knew each other, I had lost my father. One of our colleagues also had a loss, right? And you said, hey, person, you need to go talk to Indra. You guys will probably have something that you guys can talk to each other about, just to whatever it might be. And like, it was just so, yes, we did. I adore that person. Hey, Greg, shout out. Why can't I use my name? It's Greg.
Hi, Greg.
It's Greg. Hey, Greg. But like we had a lovely conversation as we always do. I adore him. Right. But like the fact that you were so clocked in, you're like, I don't even know what you guys will talk about, what you will share, what you won't share, but I feel like it would be good for the two of you to spend time with each other. It was just like, oh, so I count that as a version of networking, like this very like human centered, tuned into the people who you have encountered in your life.
Yeah. And when you first asked me like how I'm so good at networking, right? My immediate response was I just show up as me, as a person, and like I pay attention, and I was able to just connect those dots, right? Like piece together something that you two had in common. Unfortunately, like it was that at the time. But I was able to just clock it, right? To just identify that, hey, Indra, like you went through this, Greg, you're going through this now. How about you guys talk to each other? And like, I'll step away, like connect.
Yeah.
Connect on a human level.
Yeah. And I think that one of my whatevers, like we all have our insecurities and one of mine is I don't want to feel like a burden. Right. Yeah. And so even in like those types of things, like I even the language that I use, even on the podcast is like, hey, just in case this is useful for someone, like, no, it's a useful tidbit. They're listening to your podcast to listen to useful tidbits. You don't need to couch something. But for me, like just that the ease with which you're able to do that. And um, it's not an imposition. It's not an imposition. You're really just connecting people and seeing if there's a spark, and if there isn't, there isn't,
Yeah. It's just finding commonalities. I think, well, one building a network, right? Just talking to people, introducing myself, getting to know people, at these corporate networking events. I just show up authentically as myself. I'm just like, hey, I'm Amanda. What, depending on what the event is for, I'll
Yeah,
introduce
yeah,
myself as, a TPM, or like, this is what I'm doing. Um, and then I'll ask them the same questions.
yeah,
And like, hey, what do you do for a living? Do you live in Denver, or do you live in wherever?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
How do you know the people who organize this event? Like, how did you find out about this event? And then just like have a normal conversation, and
yeah,
things will come naturally, I think. Like facts about people, just tidbits about their personality will shine through.
yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the those networking events. How do you choose the ones to go to? Because it's overwhelming AF. Like, and I go to a lot of different, and I don't go to events for the sake of networking. I choose to go to events where I will learn something, and if I happen to network, like it's a bonus. Like that works for me. Um, but like, how do you go about choosing the spaces that could be overwhelming that you choose to enter into?
Yeah, so a tactic I use is I do a little recon on the event space.
Okay.
If it's a huge venue, chances are there will be a lot of people there. If it's a smaller, intimate venue, chances are it'll be a smaller group of people. And I choose the smaller, more intimate ones where like you walk into the room and it's not like, oh, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So yeah, one, I think just like from a logistical standpoint,
It's a good
um,
idea.
I scope out like where the event is going to be. Um, I also like the ones where there is an activity of some kind, whether that's like a panel discussion and then the networking event after, so that you already have that commonality of like, oh, what did you think about so and so, like what this person said during this panel discussion,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
like you can share like what resonated with you and then get other people to respond to that.
Yeah, I think that the ones that I think you're right. It's for me. And I think what I heard somebody say this recently. I'm like, it's probably true. So there's introverts on one end of the spectrum of personality types. There's extroverts on the other side, and in the middle is ambiverts. And like what this person said, and they may or may not. I haven't checked the facts, the most recent research, but like they were saying that 80% of people are not introverts or extroverts. They're somewhere in the middle, right?
Yeah, it's a
Somewhere in that.
spectrum.
I'm like introversion is a spectrum. I'm like I can get down with that, right? I'm finding the spaces that work well for you. Like it's so funny. It's not a networking. It's not like a formal networking event kind of thing. But there's a guy in New York. His name is Sugary, and he's got a newsletter and he's got a whole community. He's building amazing human being, right? Um, and what he's started to do is like they've started to add, he and his partner DK have started to add attributes to all of the events that they promote in their newsletter, right? Some of them they run themselves, some of them they promote for others. And some of that is like what social battery is going to be required for this one, which like and there's a bunch of other things that they include in there too, but like I find that such a generous thing to do. Such a generous thing to do.
Yeah. I love the how much social battery do you need for
Mhm.
this event?
Yeah.
Because that's so real.
It's so
Uh,
real.
right. Is it just, a very, very small intimate event where we're, actually you'll remember everybody's names. Yeah, everyone who attended the event, right? It's like, you know, 5 to 6 people, or is it a room full of people where you
Yeah.
have to be a little more on?
Yeah. And I love an event with because I'm terrible at names. It is something that I have worked on my entire life. I want to be better. I always strive to be better. And I know that I'm not. And the more networking events you go to, the more you see a sea of people and start forgetting like what the faces look like and who connects to what. And so my strategy for that is I always say to people, I'm like, when I introduce myself to them, I'm like, hey, really good to meet. What's your name? I'm like, hey, I promise you that I'm going to ask you your name again because it's something that I'm working on. And they get like, oh my gosh, me too. I forget. I'll ask you your name too. And like the giving of the permission of being humans in that
Mhm.
networking setting, that's worked for me and has helped me overcome that. Like, I can't remember everyone's events. They just said their name to me 5 seconds ago, and I've got to stare at their name tag to see what's who. Like, who are you? Like, wait, what did she just say? Because like it can be a lot. It can be a lot, even in those small, intimate ones.
Yeah, I think a lot of the discomfort and fear comes from the fear of being cringe, right?
Yeah.
And for me, I've learned to just like whatever, I'll be the cringe one and I'll give and that will give people permission
Yeah.
to be human,
Yeah.
right? Like we don't have to be, we're not perfect. We don't have
No.
to show up as this perfect polished person at
No.
these events. In fact, like for me, if someone is if someone is like too polished, I'm like, that's just like sus, right?
Yeah. Oh, always. Like my spidey senses are going off. I'm like, what's your angle and what
Right.
are
What's
you
your
trying
angle?
to
What are you trying to sell me? I think another tactic that I like to use
Yeah.
is if possible, bring a friend. Like have that
Have that buddy.
familiar face
Yeah.
already built into your event. And
Yeah.
like if you don't want to talk about yourself, be like, "Hey, so and so, like nice to meet you. Have you met Indra? Like it says that on your name tag that you worked in the design ops industry. So did Indra. I think you guys should talk.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I love
Like
that
be the
buddy
wingman,
system.
right?"
Yeah, it's not all that different than dating, like a romantic dating. Like it is a version of it's professional dating. It's professional
Mhm.
like keeping an eye of what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think, in in today's day and age, everything is online, everything's
Hmm.
digital. Everyone has an email address. Most people are on LinkedIn. It's so easy to just share that contact information. I'm not sharing my personal cell phone
No.
number with everyone. But here, have my email address or like have my spam email address, whatever.
Well,
Right.
and I'd say the LinkedIn one is fun because, like,
Mhm.
it's not everyone knows about the scan the barcode thing, which
Oh, the QR code. Yeah.
and like the different ways to get into it. Like it's a hidden feature, sort of like it's a discoverable feature. That's probably the better. It's not hidden; it's just discoverable. And like the delight that somebody has around like using a camera to scan a code and suddenly it shows up. They're like, oh my gosh! Like so you can make it becomes so playful. That
It
exchange of
becomes an
information.
experience.
It
Yeah.
kind of does. Like it's an accidental experience that shows up in those moments. But that's a lovely segue into like networking via LinkedIn, right? Like there is and heaven knows that my inbox is not short of cold emails from somebody trying to sell me their services, right? Because, once you start an LLC, then suddenly all the floodgates go off. And let's start a podcast. Suddenly the inbox is inboxing, right? But, I'm not talking about those cold emails, right? Because that's a different kind of skill. I mean, I do it sometimes too, but thoughtfully. But there is the networking that can happen in the comments section of posts.
Yes, it's the engagement, it's
Yeah.
the interaction, it's as simple as like scrolling by and seeing that someone that you used to work with 5 jobs ago just started a new job.
Yeah.
Like, "Hey Jen, congrats on your new gig." And like put a little more effort in because LinkedIn will
The auto
do like
suggests.
yeah, the auto suggest and it's just like congrats Jen. Send like put a little bit more, like personalize it just a tiny bit. I'm not saying like spend, however much amount of time,
Yeah.
writing a paragraph about it, but like
They're lucky to have you is my favorite go-to one.
right,
Cause,
they're
and I
lucky to
do
have
mean
you.
it when I write it, right? Like it is a
Mhm.
go-to because it works really well. And I know that person's fantastic. And I know that organization is lucky to have them. They're lucky to have you. Yeah.
Right, they're lucky to have you or like you're gonna crush it.
Easy, 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 easy. And it's so funny. Like, um, it's so funny how I actually okay, the podcast has helped with this, but I actually haven't told you this. So there's a Anastasia. I've met this woman, Anastasia. She is so fantastic, and a bunch of other folks at it was an event for people wanting to build community. Shout out to Tony Bacigalupo for that one. And it was at Fabric. Shout out to them too. And there was a partnering exercise that was happening, and I have strong feelings about partnering exercises, but this one was led well, and there was a share out, and these women across the room said, "Hey," um, they're like, "Oh, we didn't know each other, but turns out we both went to Rutgers." I'm like, "I went to Rutgers too." Right? Which then cascaded, and now that's cascaded online, where I'm pretty sure that Anastasia is connected with you, Amanda. She's like,
Yep.
"Oh my God, you're Rutgers too." Like, it's so, and that's it. It started in real life. It cascaded into LinkedIn, and the way that it just like trickles out, which is super useful because it also helps to train LinkedIn's algorithm and bring back posts to me that I might like because I commented on the right thing in the right way. So for whatever
Yes.
that's worth.
Yes. And Anastasia did reach out to me. I think the message was something around, I met Indra at this event at Fabric. And it came up in conversation that we're both Rutgers alum. And she mentioned that you're also a Rutgers alum. And I didn't realize that, you weren't even in New York
Right.
anymore. You didn't live in the area anymore. But wanted to reach out because, we have this thing in common. And yeah, it's just like building upon that, like one thing, however small it is, one thing that you have in common with someone, and you're just going to connect on this human level.
That's all it is. And I think that the other thing that I need to do when I'm networking is honor my social battery. Like when I'm depleted, I dip. I
Mm-hmm.
dip, I dip, I dip. I'm like, this is not, or the content is not resonating for me, and I feel like it's not going to work. I excuse myself. I'm like, hey, something came up. Thank you so much. Great event. And I leave because I know that I will not be my authentic self. I know I will be performative. I know I will be there trying to make the other person feel good and me getting absolutely depleted with every single conversation. So knowing that it's okay to exit skillfully for me has been a very, very important coping skill.
Yeah, I'm going to sound like such a millennial when I say this, but if the vibes are off, I'm out.
The vibes are, I'm out too. I've got no patience for that. I'm not here to boost anyone else's ego. I'm also not there to tear them down. So I'll do it nicely, but I'm like, I'm out. I can't do
Yeah.
this. So,
Right.
yeah.
And if you feel awkward about just like disappearing, oh, hey, like, sorry that I could only stay for this long. I've got to run. Make
I
up
have
an
plans.
excuse.
No,
Right. Yeah.
I have plans that came up. So the thing that there's an author named Rob Bell, and he has a podcast. He's a bunch of things. I learned this from him. It's I have plans. My plans can be sitting on the couch and watching Bravo.
Right.
But I got plans, right? Like, and they don't need to know what your plans are. Like something came up. What came up for me in this moment is the fact that I'm absolutely exhausted and I need to go recharge. Like, don't need to complete that sentence for them. But this is not serving me. Like you don't need to be mean about it. Like you just like say, hey, something came up. I'm so sorry. I'm so great. I'm sure you guys are having a great time. Thanks for letting me join. And you're out.
And that's it. Yeah.
And that's it.
And like after the networking event,
Yeah.
I usually leave the networking event with at least one new connection, whether or not that's, someone that I actually genuinely connected with and like I will remember them forever, or like just share a LinkedIn connection.
Yeah.
Right. I like file that away. I file that away, and depending on how that interaction went, like sometimes it'll just come up organically, months, even years in the future of just like, hey, I remember Anastasia from that event. She went to Rutgers and like we hit it off. We talked about this, that, or the other. I think she'd be really interested in this. Like, let me send this to her, or like let me tag her in the comments of this so that she sees this post. That
Yeah.
she sees this post about the daily Targum, right?
She was a photo editor at the Targum. So she's hardcore. She would love that. She would love that. But
Right.
yeah, no, and like I think that the thing is, whenever possible, and I don't do this all the time, which leads me to have to ask people like, hey, I meet a lot of people, and I'm so sorry to have to do this. Can you remind me how I know you? um, which I will do. But whenever I can, I will add a note in my contacts list, or if it's on LinkedIn, when that LinkedIn connections comes through, shoot them a message back saying, it was really great meeting you at such and such event. I met you at Ashley's Founders Funders on Fractionals. Like, just and then you have that
And then
as
you
your
have that
audit.
written history.
You
Yep.
have that right. Like it's that audit trail of like, how do I know this person? Like a little breadcrumb for you for future you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The number of times I'm like, I'm so glad past Amanda thought about this for present Amanda
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
like sometimes like it takes a minute, right?
Yeah.
Hey, hey Ashley, it was so nice meeting you. You know, best of luck on that job interview.
Yeah.
And then you send it off and that's it.
Yeah. I'd say the one thing that I do want to touch on, because I embody this behavior, not that I'm proud of it. I see this body in behavior embodied an awful lot, is people only network when they're looking for a job.
Oh yeah, no. I think not to like toot my own horn, right? But like I think that's one of the reasons why I'm so good at networking, as
Hmm.
people say, right? It's I just reach out at the most random moment sometimes.
Hmm.
Like if I'm thinking about someone, like, hi Greg, I'm gonna send you a text after this.
Yeah.
Like if I'm thinking about you, I'll send you a message and I'll be just with or without context. Hey, I was just thinking about you today. Or hey, I was thinking about you and I thought, like, I saw this and I thought about you and I thought you would like it. So I'm sending it to you.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. And I think it's also like networking is like just like any other skill. It's a skill. It's a muscle, and the more you exercise it, the easier it is. So if you go on like, yes, work can be a churn. Yes, it can like it can suck your hours out of your day, and you may not have the time to go networking. Find the time, because it'll keep your skills from being atrophied. Networking through your company is one set of skills, right? So like, we can touch on that too, but networking outside of your company is likely to be something that you will need to do to land your next role, whatever it is, whether it's understanding another skill set or finding the person who puts you into contact with something or whatever it is. Like it's keep that muscle, keep that muscle. It is the gym. It can be hard, but it's worth it. It's worth it.
Yeah. I feel like this is a recurring theme in a lot of our podcast episodes of it's a skill that needs to be
Mm-hmm.
practiced.
Mm-hmm.
It's like go to that networking gym, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like practice in low stakes environments so that you're ready for the interactions that matter.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's where I subscribe to a gazillion newsletters, like, which can become overwhelming, but like pick the ones you want, or, subscribe to the right one. Like for me, I've mentioned it a lot recently on episodes, but like I'm a member of Fabric, which is a wonderful community space. It's a social space here in New York City, and they promote all the events that are happening within their spaces. And I know the vibe of the space. Back to your first point, like I know the size, I know the scope, I know the environment, I know the types of people that tend to get attracted to the space. And I know a lot of the members who are the ones who are most often the ones putting on the events. I'm like, oh, I like that person. They like, I don't know this topic, but let me go to that one. Let me go to that one, but find the way to stay connected, find the low stakes, join your UXPA newsletter if you're a UX person. If you are, PMI, I think has Program Management Institute has theirs. Like there's product things, there's meetups. Find the things, subscribe to them, and go to the events. And if you don't like it, find a new one. Find a new one, whether it's virtual events or IRL events. Find them.
Yeah, and give yourself permission to leave. Going back to like our earlier point, like if you're just not feeling it, you don't have to do it.
You can dip. You can dip. There's plenty of other people at that party to hold things down. So
Right, right. Yeah, I think it's just giving yourself the permission to be yourself, right? Whether or not that's whether or not that's just, going out, making friends, no agenda, no
Yeah.
goal of like, no, I am going to this networking event to find a job. Like, why put that undue pressure on
So much
yourself?
pressure. Good Lord. Good Lord. And then you show up and then you realize that 3/4 of the people there are all trying to find jobs. And like it feels very, yeah, it's unnecessary pressure.
Yeah,
Unnecessary
I
pressure.
think like we in a past episode we talk about planting the seeds and watering them.
Yeah.
It's no different in a relationship, right?
Yeah.
It's you're planting these seeds, you're watering, you're nurturing that relationship. I'm not saying go out and message all of your LinkedIn followers every week, but like every
That's
so
not for
often,
everyone.
yeah. Like every so often, if there's something that organically, comes up and you're just like, I think Indra would be really interested in this.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
just send the thing, just send the message. The worst that can happen is that, I don't know. I'm sure there are worse things that can happen, but in a lot of cases, like you just get ignored.
And don't take that personally.
And like, that's okay.
That's okay, because heaven knows if I'm not on my LinkedIn, like things get lost in the cyberverse and life gets lifey. Life gets lifey. It's often not personal. So
Yeah, this is inspiring me to like I've thought of not just Greg, but like a few other people during this conversation. And like right after this, I'm gonna be like, hey, just thinking of you.
I was talking about you today in a really good way. To Greg,
Yeah.
that is. I don't know about the
To,
rest of them, but like to Greg. Tell
yeah.
Greg I say hello when you message him, and I'll probably message him too.
I
Okay.
will.
Thank you, Amanda, for running this little experiment slightly different. And thank you for sharing all your experience in networking. I know that everyone's going to get something out of this one. So, and thank you to everyone for listening. We hope that you join us next time when we cover another topic from the messy middle. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for taking time with us in the messy middle. Word of mouth remains the most powerful way for people to find us. If this episode sparked something for you, we'd love it if you'd subscribe to the podcast on your favorite app, download a few episodes, and share it with someone else who's navigating the in between. Do you have ideas for future episodes or topics you'd like us to explore? You can find our feedback form at themessymiddlematters.com or in the show notes. Thank you for joining us on this journey. This work is better when we do it together. Until next time.